Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bold and Beautiful today. Mom, we have a gift for you. Steffy and Finn applaud Sheila for her courageous actions. Steffy's startling choice, permitting Sheila to involve Finn in his life? A startling Sheila sharp choice might be made by Steffy Forrester. Is it possible for John Finn Finnegan to have his birth mother in his life at last? Fans of B&B are aware that Sheila was shot while attempting to save Steffy. Although I ended up with a damaged foot, it could have been far worse. Liam Spencer has been credited by Steffy with saving her life, but Sheila also played a role. Luna Nozawa might have shot Steffy if Sheila hadn't arrived when she did. That should count for something because Sheila jumped for the gun at a crucial moment. Furthermore, Liam was able to gain the upper hand and shoot at Luna because Sheila eventually threw some art supplies on the ground as a diversion. This was a collaborative effort, to put it another way. Perhaps Sheila deserves a small prize because she helped save Steffy from a terrible fate. Sheila lost another toe in the process, but if she gets to spend some time with her cherished kid, it will all have been worthwhile. Sheila has come to terms with the fact that she must avoid Finn, but might Steffy reconsider her mind in light of this risky situation? Steffy might feel sorry for Finn and let him date his birth mother now that she thinks Luna is dead. Sheila deserves some credit for what she did, but Steffy will want to tread cautiously if that occurs. It's easy to picture a heated exchange in which Steffy acknowledges that Sheila stood up but also reminds her of her previous transgressions. Steffy may be able to facilitate Finn and Sheila's connection because Sheila demonstrated that she has changed. Maybe Finn could at least start joining Sheila for lunch at Il Giardino on occasion. Steffy may choose to let Finn make the final decision about whether or not he wants to pursue it. Luna Nozawa's violent rampage at the Cliff House hangs heavy over Steffy Forrester, a toxic blend of adrenaline crash, profound relief, and the chilling certainty of how close death came, but woven through this familiar tapestry of trauma is a new, utterly alien thread, a grudging, terrifying, and utterly shocking dead ode to Sheila Sharp, the woman whose very name has been synonymous with her deepest nightmares. Steffy, the fiercely protective lioness guarding her family, the woman who endured Sheila's relentless stalking, manipulation, and the near destruction of her marriage, finds herself standing on the precipice of an unthinkable decision, one that threatens to unravel years of meticulously constructed boundaries. Should she, allow Sheila Sharp, the architect of so much pain, to finally step out of the shadows and be a part of her husband Finn's life? This isn't merely a softening of stance. It's a seismic shift in the bedrock of Steffy's world, a potential capitulation born not from forgiveness, but from the raw, undeniable calculus of life and death played out on her living room floor. The narrative Steffy clung to, crediting Liam Spencer solely as her savior, is crumbling under the weight of inconvenient, dangerous truth. Yes, Liam fired the crucial shot, acting with the decisive courage of a friend pushed to the brink, but the brutal, chaotic sequence replaying in Steffy's mind reveals a horrifying counterpoint: Sheila's sudden, desperate intervention. Luna, consumed by a terrifying vortex of pills, jealousy, and maternal anguish, had Steffy cornered, the gun trembling but aimed with lethal intent. In that suspended moment before the trigger could be pulled, Sheila didn't hesitate. She lunged, a primal, self-destructive dive towards the weapon, taking the bullet meant for Steffy in her foot. It was an act of instinctive sacrifice, messy and painful, costing Sheila yet another toe, a grotesque echo of past punishments, yet undeniably altering the trajectory of events. This wasn't passive presence, it was active, bodily intervention. And Sheila didn't stop there. Recognizing the stalemate, her survival instincts and perhaps a flicker of something else, protectiveness? Obsession? Kicked in. The calculated shove of art supplies, creating a vital distraction, the split-second chaos that gave Liam the crucial opening he needed to disarm Luna and fire. To dismiss this as mere happenstance is impossible. It was, as uncomfortable as the admission is, a team effort. Sheila Sharp, the monster under Steffy's bed, played an indispensable, deliberate role in preventing a far grimmer outcome. The bullet lodged in her foot, the excruciating loss of another digit, these are visceral, undeniable tokens of participation in Steffy's salvation. The weight of this debt presses down on Steffy with an almost physical force. Sheila's motivations remained shrouded in her characteristic manipulative fog. Was this genuine protective instinct towards Finn's wife, the mother of her grandchildren? A calculated bid for redemption? Or simply the reflexive action of a predator defending what it perceives as its own? Steffy, scarred by years of Sheila's treachery, naturally defaults to suspicion. Sheila's history is a litany of broken promises, violent outbursts, and psychological torture. Trusting her is akin to trusting a viper. Yet, the undeniable physicality of Sheila's actions, the blood on the floor, the cry of pain, the tangible sacrifice, creates a dissonance Steffy cannot easily silence. The woman who once held her and Hope hostage, who orchestrated Finn's near death, who reveled in chaos, threw herself in front of a bullet for her. This act exists outside the established script of Sheila's villainy, forcing Steffy into a moral labyrinth. How does one repay such a debt, however monstrous the creditor? Ignoring it feels callous, ungrateful, a betrayal of the basic human acknowledgement owed to someone who, in that critical moment, chose your life over their own safety, however complex their reasons. Furthermore, Steffy now grapples with the crushing guilt and sorrow she assumes surrounds Luna's apparent demise. This heightened emotional state, this proximity to irrevocable loss, can breed a desperate empathy, a desire to grasp at any form of connection or resolution. Seeing Finn, her rock, the man who shares her visceral hatred and fear of Sheila, might also be wrestling with the cognitive dissonance of his birth mother saving his wife, could tip Steffy's scales towards a dangerous compassion. She might reason that Finn, an adult, deserves the agency to process this event and decide for himself what role, if any, Sheila might now play. Denying him that choice, especially in the wake of such a traumatic event where Sheila played a pivotal, positive role, could feel like an overreach of her protective instincts, a hypocrisy even. Therefore, the shocking decision takes shape not as a warm embrace of reconciliation, but as a tense, fragile, and deeply conditional concession, a crack in the impenetrable wall Steffy built. Imagine the scene: Steffy, posture rigid, eyes hard with residual fear and mistrust, summoning Sheila. The air crackles with decades of animosity. Steffy's words would be a scalpel, not a bomb. She would meticulously recount Sheila's sins, the fire, the kidnappings, the lies, the constant threat, leaving no room for romanticized revisionism. "Never forget what you are," the subtext would scream. Yet, intertwined with this brutal honesty would be the reluctant, gritted-teeth acknowledgement, "But, you were there. You acted. You took that bullet. You created the distraction. I acknowledge that." This acknowledgement is the price Steffy pays, the coin with which she reluctantly purchases a sliver of peace from her own conscience regarding the debt. The reward offered is infinitesimal by Sheila's likely standards, but monumental in the context of their history. Steffy might cease her active, vehement opposition to Finn having any contact. She might, with the utmost reluctance, tell Finn that while she will never trust Sheila, never welcome her into their home or near their children, she won't stand in his way if he chooses to explore some form of incredibly limited, supervised connection. The parameters would be draconian, perhaps brief, public meetings. Lunch at Il Giardino, with Steffy or a trusted third party potentially nearby, not as a participant, but as a sentinel. Phone calls monitored, if allowed at all. No access to Hayes or Kelly. Ever. It's not forgiveness, it's a tightly controlled experiment in managed exposure, born of necessity, not affection. Steffy's hope, a fragile and likely naive one, is that placing the ball firmly in Finn's court absolves her of direct responsibility while offering a controlled outlet. She gambles that Finn, armed with his own profound distrust and love for her, will naturally impose severe limits. She gambles that Sheila, desperate for any crumb of recognition from her son, will adhere to these strict boundaries, seeing it as the only possible path forward. She gambles that this tiny aperture won't shatter the fragile peace she's fought so hard to build. But this is Sheila Sharp. The intoxicating taste of proximity, of even the most grudging acknowledgement from Steffy, could easily reignite the very obsession Steffy fears. The changed Sheila is a concept built on sand, eroded by decades of evidence to the contrary. One perceived slight, one moment where Finn pulls back, one instance where Steffy's vigilance falters, could be the spark that ignites the dormant inferno. Steffy's decision, therefore, is not just shocking, it's a breathtakingly dangerous gamble. It's a gamble that Sheila's desire for Finn's love will genuinely override her innate destructiveness. It's a gamble that Finn's love for Steffy and his own memories of Sheila's evil will armor him against manipulation. It's a gamble that her own trauma responses won't be triggered beyond endurance by the mere knowledge of their interactions. It's a gamble that this fractured mercy, offered from a place of indebtedness and exhaustion rather than genuine belief in redemption, won't become the very instrument Sheila uses to finally worm her way into the heart of the family Steffy has sworn to protect above all else. Allowing Sheila to be part of Finn's life, even in the most microscopic, controlled way, isn't opening a door, it's removing a single brick from a fortress wall, hoping the structure holds while knowing the relentless ocean of Sheila's nature is constantly pressing against it. The shock lies not just in the decision itself, but in the terrifying uncertainty of whether this act of reluctant gratitude will ultimately be remembered as Steffy's greatest act of compassion or her most catastrophic miscalculation. Finn and Sheila Mornt's bodies vanish. Sheila Carter Sharp and John Finn Finnegan will likely grieve over Luna Nozawa later. Let's discuss the upcoming events in the CBS soap opera as you continue reading. Claim of death of Luna Nozawa. Let's start with Luna, who was shot and barely survived a life-saving operation. Lee Finnegan assured Bridget Forrester that she would be with the patient following the procedure. Subsequently, Finn informs Sheila that Luna passed away during her recuperation. Lee has previously stolen bodies from the hospital, so it is suspicious. The disappearance of Liam Spencer. He will keep pleading with Bill Spencer to see Liam. But he will continue to be rejected. Bill is still unaware of Liam's brain tumor at this time. But in the middle of the week, Bill watches as Grace Buckingham performs surgery on Liam. Therefore, I want to know if Grace and Bill have an agreement. The surgery appears to be going well. Both Finn and Bridget extol Liam's extraordinary fortitude. But by the end of the week, Bill has taken Liam's unconscious body. Sharp Sheila Carter and grieved John Finnegan. According to next week's teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Finn and Sheila will discuss Luna's passing. Both will be saddened by the young lady and ponder how her life went so wrong. Finn and his biological mother might have a pleasant time together. The loss of Luna won't make Deacon Sharp very sad. But he will be sophisticated and help Sheila through this difficult period. Would Deacon be able to get in touch with Poppy Nozawa? Deacon found Luna intolerable, and Poppy harbored a deep hatred for her daughter. Could their happiness at Luna's passing serve as a bond? The week of July 14, 2025. Additionally, fans will witness the band consisting of Taylor Hayes, Ridge Forrester, and Brooke Logan. As Liam battles for his life, the three protagonists will set aside their rivalry. But what happens if people discover that Liam's body appears to have vanished from the hospital? Are Bill and Lee collaborating on some strange atonement plan? Or are they two distinct storylines? Sheila Carter Sharp, and the grieving doctor, John Finn Finnegan, into a shared space of mourning and bewildered reflection, even as another critical patient, Liam Spencer, vanishes without a trace, leaving a trail of panic and conspiracy theories in his wake. Luna's journey was already a precarious tightrope walk. Surviving the gunshot wound inflicted by Sheila, a moment of chaos echoing through the Forrester Creations halls, seemed a miracle snatched from the jaws of tragedy. The life-saving surgery offered a fragile hope, a chance for redemption, for explanations, for a future potentially mended. Lee Finnegan, ever the watchful guardian, or perhaps jailer, of secrets, positioned herself at Luna's bedside, assuring Bridget Forrester of her vigilant care. This detail alone casts an immediate pall of doubt over the subsequent revelation. For when Finn approaches Sheila, his biological mother whose violent actions precipitated this entire nightmare, the news he delivers is shattering: Luna didn't survive recovery. She succumbed, her young life extinguished. The sheer improbability screams from the rafters. Luna fought through the trauma of the shooting, endured complex surgery, only to falter silently in recovery under Lee's watch. Lee Finnegan, whose past is stained with the audacious theft of Finn's own dead body, possesses both the motive, protecting her son Steffy from Luna's complicated presence, silencing potential truths about Poppy's paternity claims, and a proven, chilling capability for body-snatching subterfuge. The specter of Luna's death being not a tragic medical failure, but a calculated vanishing act orchestrated by Lee, looms large and terrifyingly plausible. Is Luna truly gone, or has she become another pawn in Lee's ruthless game, whisked away to some hidden location while the world mourns a phantom death? Simultaneously, within the same hospital walls, another life hangs in the balance, and another disappearance is meticulously engineered. Liam Spencer, battling a hidden brain tumor that threatened everything, finally undergoes the critical surgery championed by Grace Buckingham. Bill Spencer, Liam's formidable father, paces with impotent fury, barred from his son's side, crucially unaware of the tumor gnawing at Liam's future. His pleas are met with steely denials, fueling his desperation. The surgery itself appears to be a beacon of hope. Finn and Bridget, observing Liam's progress, marvel at his resilience, their professional assessments painting a picture of successful intervention and a path to healing. This makes the next development utterly confounding. By the week's end, Liam's hospital room is empty. His unconscious body, vulnerable and reliant on medical support, has simply vanished. The prime suspect? Bill Spencer. His relentless determination to save Liam from perceived threats like Steffy and Finn, his vast resources, and his utter disregard for conventional rules when his family is threatened, point squarely to him. Did he strike a clandestine deal with Grace Buckingham during the tense operating room vigil, leveraging his power or promises to gain control of his son's fate? The image of Bill spiriting away Liam's unconscious form is a potent symbol of paternal obsession overriding all medical ethics and personal boundaries. Is this a desperate act of love, a dangerous gamble for redemption in Bill's eyes, or something darker? And crucially, where has he taken Liam, and in what state will Liam awaken, if he awakens at all? It is against this backdrop of dual disappearances, one shrouded in alleged death, the other a brazen abduction, that the most emotionally fraught and narratively rich development unfolds, the shared grief of Finn and Sheila. Next week's spoilers promise a profound conversation between them centered on Luna's death. Finn, despite the chaos Luna brought into his marriage, was her doctor, bound by oath to save her. He witnessed her vulnerability, her youth, and the catastrophic chain reaction Sheila's bullet set off. Sheila, the perpetrator, carries a burden far heavier than legal guilt. She is the direct cause of the young woman's alleged end. Their mourning is layered with profound complexity. Finn wrestles with professional failure, or the horrifying suspicion his motherly engineered it, and the human tragedy of a life cut short. Sheila, for all her monstrous acts, possesses a twisted capacity for connection, especially with Finn. Her grief might stem from genuine, albeit selfish, remorse over harming him through her actions, or perhaps a flicker of empathy for the life she destroyed. Together, they will ponder how Luna's life spiraled so violently off track, a question implicating Poppy's secrets, RJ's indecision, Zen's opportunism, and ultimately, Sheila's own deadly intervention. This shared introspection, this vulnerability exposed in the face of loss, creates a perilous yet undeniable intimacy. It's a nice bonding moment forged in the crucible of shared tragedy and guilt, a dangerous step towards the mother-son connection Sheila has always craved, potentially blinding Finn further to Sheila's inherent toxicity and Lee's potential machinations. Deacon Sharp, ever the pragmatic survivor, provides a stark counterpoint. His grief over Luna is conspicuously absent, their antagonism was mutual and deep. Yet, demonstrating a surprising, perhaps strategic, depth of character, he chooses to be classy. He positions himself as Sheila's unwavering support, her anchor in this storm. His motives are intriguingly opaque. Is this genuine care for Sheila, a desire to solidify their partnership? Or is it a calculated move, sensing Sheila's vulnerability and Finn's shifting stance, positioning himself as indispensable? Furthermore, Deacon's history with Poppy Nozawa adds another volatile element. Both harbored intense animosity towards Luna, Deacon resenting her disruption, Poppy exhibiting a chillingly fierce hatred for her own daughter. Could Luna's death become the perverse foundation for a connection between Deacon and Poppy? A shared, unspoken relief, even joy, at her removal from the board? Their potential bonding over this dark common ground introduces a terrifying new dynamic, one rooted in callousness and opportunism amidst the genuine grief swirling around them. The fallout from these parallel vanishings will send shockwaves far beyond Finn, Sheila, and Deacon. The week of July 14th sees the extraordinary sight of Brooke Logan, Ridge Forrester, and Taylor Hayes momentarily laying down their decades-long arms. United by the primal fear for Liam's life, Brooke as his steadfast supporter and Hope's mother, Ridge as his father-in-law and patriarch, Taylor as his former mother-in-law and Steffy's mother, their combined focus offers a rare moment of familial solidarity. But this fragile truce is destined to shatter. The discovery that Liam's body has disappeared from the hospital will ignite panic and suspicion of catastrophic proportions. The immediate, terrifying question, who took him? Bill Spencer is the obvious suspect, but his motives will be fiercely debated. Is this a deranged attempt at control, or does Bill possess information or a plan he believes justifies this extreme act? Could he, driven by a warped desire to protect Liam from perceived enemies like Finn, whom he blames for Steffy's actions, or even Steffy herself, have orchestrated this? The timing, juxtaposed with Luna's disappearance/death, inevitably breeds conspiracy. Are Bill Spencer and Lee Finnegan, two powerful, ruthless individuals with histories of manipulating medical crises and absconding with bodies, somehow collaborating? Is Liam's disappearance part of a larger, bizarre redemption scheme? Perhaps Bill believes stealing Liam allows for experimental treatment away from prying eyes, while Lee uses the chaos to cover Luna's death, real or staged. Or, are these two distinct, high-stakes operations running on parallel tracks, their collision creating a perfect storm of confusion and dread? Lee's potential involvement in Luna's vanishing casts a long shadow over Liam's situation. If she could fake Luna's death and spirit her away, what might she know, or even be capable of, regarding Liam? The hospital's security is catastrophically breached, twice over, implicating profound institutional failure or internal collusion. Hope Logan will be plunged into fresh despair, Steffy Forrester will face renewed scrutiny and Bill's wrath, and the Spencer, Forrester, and Logan families will be consumed by the frantic, terrifying search for answers and for Liam himself. Thus, the bold and the beautiful masterfully intertwines visceral human emotion with high-stakes mystery. The alleged death of Luna Nozawa becomes the catalyst for an unlikely and deeply complicated bond between her doctor and her killer, a bond fraught with perilous emotional depth. Simultaneously, the brazen theft of Liam Spencer's unconscious body throws the entire canvas into disarray, implicating powerful figures and threatening fragile alliances. The grieving process for Luna is poisoned from the outset by suspicion and the potential for monstrous deception, while the search for Liam is charged with urgency and fear. Are these disappearances connected threads in a dark tapestry woven by Lee and Bill? Or are they separate, equally dangerous storms converging? As Finn and Sheila find solace in shared sorrow, unaware they might be mourning a lie, and as Deacon maneuvers in the shadows, the families unite only to face a terrifying void where Liam should be. The coming weeks promise not just answers, but a relentless exploration of grief manipulated, love turned desperate, and the terrifying lengths to which individuals will go to protect, or control, the fates of those they claim to cherish, all while two bodies remain ominously, hauntingly, gone.